I think it was a fascinating presentation. So I have a text here, and I'll stick to my text after I'm going to respond somehow to what François did, I may. Okay, so what François said here, and I think I can't hold that we are very easily familiar. So, okay. So I think that the fascinating points here, I was listening and I organized about the points, and based on our experience, the first thing I would say, we are here, and I apologize if I forget somebody, but I think I was writing down how many of the commission members and or experts are here. We have Ioan Stanonian chapter, subchapter on the constitutions of communist Romania. There are two, I think. Okay, we have Cristian Vasile, who was the secretary of the commission, which is a very important and it's a key position, and in making this operation work. We have Adrian Ciotluca, who was the only, two of them were members of the two commissions that function in Romania. Adrian was a member of the Wiesel Commission for the Study of the Holocaust in Romania, which was created in 2003, and then became an expert of the Commission for the Analysis of Dictatorship, wrote a chapter on institutions, especially on communist youth, trade unions, and so on, and then became a member of something that followed our report, which was President Băsescu's decision to create in April, by the way, the last document he signed as president before he was suspended for a month, was the creation of the advisory presidential commission. And when he was suspended, the first decision of the interim president at that point for a month or 30 days was to delete, apropos of distribution, publicity, and so on, to delete from the presidency's website our report. It was the first decision by President Băsescu when he returned to Contentious after this event was to put back our report on the website. Those who say that there was no consequence, and I read recently an outrageous statement in a book published, still to get his response in my review in TLS very soon, in a book that's called The Unfinished Revolution, about Eastern Europe remembering the past. A British professor says there was no consequence to the Tismăneanu Commission. I'm using this, I hate using my name and reporting, but a great Romanian poet who lives in the United States, his name is Andrei Codrescu, some of you know his name. He said, you don't have a solution at this point because your name has become like saying Munții Carpați. I mean, it's associated with this commission whether I like it or not. I mean, that's the, so I'm referring sometimes not a lack of months, put it this way. I would prefer, when I saw it first, I really hated it to see your name all the time, or one's name all the time, associated. That's the way people refer to it. The consequence, people say no consequence? What are the consequences can one imagine more dramatic for a country than the suspension of the country's president? And to have a referendum on this particular issue, people say, oh, but he was not suspended because of the condemnation of communism, and I challenge anybody who will say, because I can prove by days, by hours, by documents, that this was one of the three crucial issues for the suspension at that moment. We have all the proofs. Part of the reason that he himself became a little more cautious on these issues after that is because he learned also this lesson. He didn't want to have a second suspension. So he's after a politician. He's not the president of the Swiss National Science Foundation. He is the president of the country. Okay. So I think it's very, very important to compare. So I think that you emphasize something. There is a book that was published in Romania. Not in Romania, actually, significantly, one of the most vicious attacks on our commission and our report came out from a group of scholars, quasi-scholars and pseudo-scholars, who put together their efforts in basically smashing the report, smashing the condemnation of communism in the name of a newborn ideology which defines itself as anti-communist, which is having at this moment its blogs, they created in a new branch of Marxism. But I teach the history of Marxism and I use Kolakowski, his trilogy. I never thought they would find a new branch of Marxism born in post-communist Romania called Transylvanian Marxism. Okay, so welcome to the country of Transylvanian Marxism. Okay, so It's funny, but it's also the fact that they come in the name of anti-communism in a country that has not yet discovered all the corpses of communism. It is, as a great Romanian intellectual, Andrei Pleșu, former Minister of Culture, former Minister of Foreign Affairs, the title of his volume is called Public Obscenity. It's public obscenity. It's as obscene as, I don't know, pornographic sites, which I don't really watch. But I've never watched. But I can imagine how obscene they are. Okay, this political pornography, unfortunately, I have to deal with. Okay, so you mentioned, and it's interesting, the following, called illusia anti-communism, the illusion of anti-communism. Some of us thought that anti-communism is as legitimate an attitude when it's defined by liberal civic democratic values as anti-fascist. That the victims of Coloma have the same right or compassion as the victims of Auschwitz. This is fundamental, and we support at this institute, at least the leadership of this institute, by the way, also the leadership, the previous leadership of the institute, like Marcus Opera and Timo Zafirescu and so on. We support the Prague Declaration, and we do believe that it is very important to unify. That doesn't mean to homogenize. You cannot homogenize. European memory would remain heterogeneous no matter what, and it should, because it's not diverse, it's complicated. But to unify in terms of empathy and knowledge, European memory. Victims of one totalitarianism have the same right to our compassionate memory as the victims of the other totalitarianism. And this is not, I want to be clearly understood, and I'll make it as emphatic as I can, this is not to diminish in any way the recognition and our empathy for every single victim of any genocide that took place on European or any other territory in the 20th century. But we are somewhat frustrated when the concept of genocide was criticized as used in our report, and we were accused of being non-scholarly by one of the exponents of the what's called Transylvanian Marxism. Saying that genocide does not apply. At this moment, how many years after we completed our report in 2006, and I'll go back into that, at that moment, the term was still taboo when used to any other purpose than describing ethnic mass murder. Some of the people here, and I'd like to throw some controversial topics, so I'll leave my notes there, and I'll elaborate. The term was created, was introduced, everybody knows in the audience, I apologize if I repeat some platitudes, but some platitudes from that should be repeated in order to observe what Hannah Arendt once called our needed respect for the little verities of fact. There are a number of little verities of fact that I would like to emphasize. The term genocide was included in its original conception, and Professor Tismăneanu teaches these issues, included political crimes. Crimes against humanity perpetrated for political reasons. It was not, and that's the way Raphael Lemkin, the founder, the creator of the term genocide, considered, who was himself a survivor of the Holocaust. It was not accepted as a result of the veto which was introduced by the representative of a country that had all the reasons not to want to. We are 1948, the representative of the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union had all the reasons in the world not to include political mass crimes in the term genocide. Based on that, along the years until recently, and it's only recently, and I'm not saying that we should or whatever, I don't think it's mandatory, but at least it's not taboo anymore to say that what Stalin did, what Mao did, what Pol Pot did, and what the Romanian communists did during at least the period between 1948 and 1953, we should be very precise. We have here the Dean of Romanian Historiography, and I want to salute the presence of Mr. Papapoulos here. We should be very precise what period. It's completely absurd to say that Romanian communism was genocidal in 1960. It was not. But between 48 and 53, we have a period when the term applies, or at least some of us believe the term applies, and it's nothing wrong. Norman Mailer, one of the most respected American historians, professor of history at Stanford University, published a book last year with the title Stalin's Genocides. Not one, many, several. Tismăneanu, professor of history at Yale University, published a book which is called Bloodlines, about the 14 million people killed along what he calls the Molotov-Ribbentrop line, and which were both killed for ethnic reasons and for political reasons. Now, some people are not happy with Tismăneanu's book, but again, a taboo was broken. At this moment, you can't say these things without being considered either nuts or Nazi. So, you are not Nazi by saying that the Nazis and the Bolsheviks basically sometimes cooperate, sometimes didn't cooperate, in killing 14 million people. I don't speak about war victims. I mean, people killed with the purpose of being killed. This is something that at this moment we can say. Now, in this volume, let's call it the Transylvanian Marxist contribution to the debate, the term that François mentioned here, which is fundamental from my experience, it does not even appear. And I really was very impressed when you mentioned major commissions. We spoke about several commissions, but let's say the two key possible commissions is mandate. How important the mandate is. I base my remarks because I also read a few books about that, many books about it. The mandate defines the goals of the commission, the method of the commission, how far the commission can go in its investigation. We had, Bogdan is here, we'll go next year, we'll have a volume published about that, and we checked this with Charles Villavicencio, who was the chief, the head of the research for the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in South Africa.